there, and welcome back to Weird Soda for Life. My, this is my pumpkin pie. Lester's fixin's what I'm drinking. Who the hell is this guy? Ah, you get it. Welcome back. Anyway, as I said before, we are trying Lester's Fixin's pumpkin pie soda this week. As we do, there's not a lot to talk about Lester. We've done that ad nauseum. If you haven't seen any of the sodas that I say he as if he's a not a corporate entity. But if you haven't seen any of the sodas that he's done before, my January and February sodas were a lot of him. A lot. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, check out one of those. So for this, I kind of did a little research on pumpkin pie, which I know a couple weeks ago we talked about pumpkin spice tonic. And again, if you missed that conversation, I'll link that or I'll share the video at the end of this one. But again, I want to talk a little bit about pumpkin pie itself. Pumpkins are native to the Americas, so it is something that started, well, here. And just like most of our colonial history, the English and French took it back to their home countries and tried to ruin it. Uh, for example, the English decided a pumpkin pie could be made by just like slicing it like a watermelon and then just like, not watermelon, but like slicing it and then just like sticking some apples in it. And yep, that's a thing. Imagine eating like the equivalent of a orange like watermelon rind in your pumpkin pie. Or conversely, you could be like the French who decided that the way to make a pumpkin pie was to like boil a pumpkin in milk and then like strain it into a pie crust. What? Conversely, in the Americas, during the in the American colonies, specifically in New England, um, you do have them making tarts and actually using it to make bread because there wasn't a lot of flour, and of course making different variations of pumpkin pie. So much so that I know when we think of Thanksgiving traditions, we think of, well, some of us think of like markedly wrong things. But one thing that is actually true to the myth is that there were probably pumpkin pies there. Pumpkin pies were exceedingly common by the time the Pilgrims landed. So much so that by the 1700s, there was a New England town. I'm gonna mispronounce this, like Colchester, who actually like put a huge pause on their Thanksgiving celebrations because they were using molasses to help make their pumpkin pie sweeter, and they'd run out of molasses. So instead of just having subpar pumpkin pies, they decided, nope, cancel the celebration until you get us more molasses. And I gotta respect that hustle. And going further with the pumpkin pie stuff, it's interesting to me that it sort of became a symbol of, if not abolitionist sentiment, Yankee sentiment. Uh, this may shock you, but a lot of prominent abolitionists were in fact New Englanders, and so when they were evoking these images of families gathering together um, for Thanksgiving and things like that, they were describing the pumpkin pie as like a seminal part, and of course, obviously contrasting it with the violent separation of families in the South. Um, in addition, you may remember Over the River and Through the Woods, which the original title was actually referencing Thanksgiving, and the last stanza has a reference, was it, hooray for the fun is the pudding done, hooray for the pumpkin pie? So, like, again, this symbology associating pumpkin pie with the North uh, was so strong, in fact, that when Lincoln during the Civil War said, yo, Thanksgiving, federal holiday, we're making it a holiday, guess what? The Southern sentiment at the time actually name checked pumpkin pie as a symbol of like terrible Yankee food. Um, as for me, although I am a Southerner, I do love me a good pumpkin pie, especially with a healthy layer of Cool Whip. But I really think all this needs to tell us is that like pumpkin pie, truly Americana at its finest. Utterly fascinating. With that, let's take a look at the bottle. Like most of Lester's Fixins, it's pretty boring and kind of just spells out exactly what it is. If you didn't know this was a pumpkin pie soda, there's nothing here that's gonna like hide the truth from you. Um, it's a pumpkin pie slice. and with our good friend Lester. Doesn't he make you want to drink things? I know I do. I also want to know how like strongly orange this is, like an orange soda. And I like that they've done the little cap orange as well. They usually don't. Usually it's like a gold like cheapy cap, and this is an orange cheap cap instead. So kudos. With that, let's see what we're getting ourselves into. Oh, you bastard. Okay, I feel vindicated. This was actually not a twist top, but okay, so I'm a little concerned, and here's why. If you may recall on the channel, whenever we have a Lester's Fixin', no matter what food it is always excessively sweet, even when the food itself shouldn't be sweet. And I worry about that here because while I'm smelling, well, frankly, a lot of pumpkin spice, like the soda we had before, there's also an underlying current of just sugar. And I'm really hoping that maybe with the spices or like the artificial flavoring, because let's face it, it may shock you that it doesn't actually have any pumpkin in it. It does have caramel color, but it doesn't have any or any nutmeg or anything like that. So, all right, pray for me. It's it's too sweet for me. I struggle with that sometimes with the Lester stuff. Is that it's just too sweet. Um, you get some of the spices, some of the artificial flavoring of pumpkin spice, and in that scenario, it tastes actually it shares a similar taste palette from the pumpkin spice tonic, except the pumpkin spice tonic knew when to quit with the sweetness, and this tastes almost like somebody sprinkled some pumpkin spice into like a maple syrup water mix and decided that was what soda was now. Um, this is really on the low end for me. It's not bad. Like, am I physically repulsed by by this soda? No, no, I'm not. But it's too sweet. Like, it really needs to be cut with something, whether that's ice or vanilla vodka or something to cut through the sweet, almost thickness of this soda. Um, I don't know what I was expecting, and so I am unsurprised. I guess is the best way to put it. Um, Meh. Next week, though, we are bringing back an old favorite, the voodoo, the you do so well. That's right, guys. It's Mountain Dew Voodoo season again. We are in year 5, and we're going to try this Mountain Dew, and we're going to try to see if we can guess what flavor it is before it reveals itself on Halloween evening. So I'm looking forward to that, and it should be an upswing from what, well, this was. Until next time, drink weird, and I really need to stop hanging out with old people named Lester, I guess. See you next time.